Uh, so we can get started in next 2-3 minutes. I think we can get started. Uh, Thank you for the registration for the event. Uh, so we at the Satyava, so we are conducting events twice in the week. So today we will be talking about this Azure Static Web Apps. Uh, so the event is going to be conducted by Ganesh. Ganesh is working as a UI engineer with Satyava Private Limited. He has a very good knowledge of Azure Static Web App also, and he is excited to always learn the new technologies and the new happenings around the Azure. So at the Satyava also, like I mentioned, so we are conducting uh, events twice in the week. So tomorrow also we are having one event on the microservices. So that is also an exciting topic to be learn or to attain for the event. Uh, so I can request all of you also to join that event as well. So that is also live on the satyava.dev on our website. Uh, so without wasting any time, I will hand over to Ganesh to go ahead with the topic. Ganesh, you wanted to start?
Hey guys, I hope you can see me and you can hear me properly. My everything is working fine.
Yes, Ganesh, yes. Please go.
So, welcome everyone. I hope you're having a great day. Your static web apps. As Kushal already introduced me, I am a UI engineer here at SEA, and I like to work with people. I was a gold student, gold Microsoft Learn student ambassador. You can find me here on my socials here at, I have mentioned them here. G8786 is my name, so if you Google that, you can find me and reach out to me. Uh, so let's talk about the topic which we are here to talk about, Azure Static Web Apps. So what is Azure Static Web Apps? Azure Static Web Apps helps you to deploy static web apps quickly onto Azure service, which is known as Azure Static Web Apps. And the benefit of deploying it with Azure Static Web Apps is that it gives you deployment with a CDN, or you can say somewhere where if you put your website there once, it will be available throughout the globe at a very fast speed. And the benefits of having a static web app is that uh, if it is a static web app, it gives you good SEO ratings, and you have better way to promote your website using this kind of a web app. And of course, there are benefits of using static web apps. You can of course use whatever proprietary or private backend would you have, or if you want to have a backend with Azure functions, Azure Static Web Apps enables you to have that as well. uh, it is available for a free, वहां से जाओ पप्पा, वहां से जाओ. Uh, so you can have a starting price at a free price, and then later on you can move to a more uh, pay as you go solution. Yeah, the pay as you go solution is also very cost friendly. It is only $9 per month, and as you go on increasing the usage of your application, it will increase as per that. It's basically free real estate. If you are looking to make an application uh, for your college project, or for demoing it to someone, you can deploy it here. You get a global CDN, and that is all for free. It is basically a solution like Vercel or something else, Vercel or Netlify. How can you build a static web apps? You can build static web apps with a bunch of different technologies, but the most hottest ones are now, you can use Svelte, you can use React, you can use Vue.js, you can use Next.js. And of course, if you are a, a person who likes to develop with just HTML and CSS, that is also supported, of course. How can you, yeah, as I said, you can have a proprietary backend with, however the way you want, or you can use a backend with, Azure functions. So, uh, property, I that is a very wrong word. I wish to say like a private backend. So whatever type of you have, and you can build it with, if you want to build it with Azure functions, you can do that as well. So the benefit of having backend with Azure functions is whenever you deploy your website, it will redeploy again, and you will have, you understand where this is going. Yeah. So the whole infrastructure, yeah, as I said in the earlier phase, when you redeploy the website, the Azure function will be deployed side by side with your web app. It will also be available on the global CDN, so that will also be very fast and as quick as you would want. uh, Another great feature that is provided by Azure Static Web Apps is you get a built-in system to authenticate your users. So if you are building a website, majority of the time what people have problem with is deciding how they are going to authenticate users and how they are going to store user credentials. But with Azure Static Web Apps, you get a really very simple way of doing that, and it has although I have listed only three, uh, the Azure Static Web Apps supports a bunch of different, what do you say, authentication systems. And let me see if I can find it over here. Over you, it find authentication. Yeah, the authentication part there will be, I guess. Okay, it is the three major providers, but as far as I know, it also supports Twitter, it also supports Facebook, and you can basically write a custom type of authentication if you want to. Uh, Azure provides service for that as well, and let's do it. So, as far as I know, when I had created this presentation, I was trying to demo with a React application and show you guys how it is done. But right now, the last time that I did it, it failed miserably. So this time I have a plan to create a plain HTML CSS application and demo you guys how it's going to be. So let's just do it. So here I have in my terminal. I was also already practicing on how to do it. I hope my terminal is visible to you. Kushal, my terminal is visible, right? Yeah, okay, sweet. So we can make a we can see which projects we have already. SWA, let's make a small SWA session, and we go on to SWA session and we open it with code. And when we open it with code, it will open something like this. So I hope it is soon done, and you can see what I want to do. Yeah, so let's make an application, and let's make an index.html. Welcome to session about Azure Static Web Apps. And let's go live. So if you don't know what I'm doing, this is a plain index.html application, sorry, index.html file, and there is a sweet extension in VS Code known as 5 server. So with 5 server, earlier it was live server, but then and nowadays it is very famous, 5 server. So with that you can directly go live. So 5 servers start. If you do that, it will automatically open up in a browser window whatever you are trying to build. So here, let's have it side by side. And so the benefit of this is actually it automatically refreshes whenever you change something in a website. So you have a website. Also, while you are working with the website on your local device, to what do you say, to mock the behavior of a static web app as it would behave on Azure, you have this great little tool known as Azure Static Web App CLI. So you can install this and use it on your local machine, and it will enable you to uh, basically mock how your website would behave when you deploy it on Azure. So I already have it installed, but if you don't have it, you can go on Google and search static web app CLI, and it will take you to this page, which is what I have open over here. You can copy this command line install command line thing. Command line, yeah, you get what I'm saying. I'm not getting the word. So you open up your terminal, you have a shell open, and you run this command. It will automatically install the SWA CLI, and once you have it, you just note where your server is running. So it is running on localhost 5555, and you start with SWA start localhost, and you paste this thing. And it will automatically start an SWA session with SWA emulation. So I have this thing over here, and yeah, so basically with this what it would do is basically give you a few extra thing what the SWA framework gives you, and you can test it locally, which is what we are going to do. So we wanted to implement authentication. Let's have an authentication system. So how let's create a login with Twitter button. Let's also create a few more buttons. And okay, yeah. So if you see, if you go to dash.auth slash login and you prefix with the provider you want, like in this case it's Twitter, and I go over here, it will take me to the login screen. Right now you are seeing a mock version of it, and if I go over here with the live server is on, if I go here, you will see that it's not available. That's why we started a mock server of SWA CLI. And when I go here, you can see it opens up login screen on the deployed version where you have that SWA deployed. If you go to this link, it will open up a page where it will ask you to log in via Twitter. Okay, that is the whole game, and then you put over here your username and you click on login, and boom, you have a login with Twitter thing done. The same is with GitHub and Microsoft. You can use GitHub as the endpoint. Then for Microsoft, you can use AAD, that is, I guess, Azure Authentication Directory. Uh, I don't remember, but that is something. See that this time it uses provider. So this time when you would click on a deployed version, login with GitHub, it will open up a login screen with GitHub. And when you would use AD, it will ask you to log in with Microsoft account. Now you have this feature. You would also want a, a way to check whether a person is currently logged in or not. So how you would do that is using JavaScript, and it is actually very simple. I can show you here in the docs. If you see, I have I have this page open because I was practicing how to do it, but I can show you if you go to docs.microsoft.com, Azure and Azure Static Web Apps, you will have all of the documentation. In the security, authentication and authorization part, if it loads up quickly, yeah, you just have to make access user information. You just have to make one fetch call to a route, which is this .auth slash me. So let's go over here and see what happens if I go .auth slash me. Yeah, if you see, if I go to .auth slash me, it provides me with all the details. Like the user is authenticated via Twitter, and the username is G8076. This thing will not be available, of course, on a local website. It will only be available when you deploy it to HWA. And here in this case, where we have the mock version of HWA running. So let's copy this function and have this in over here. So if you basically understand what it does is, it is going to this route .auth dash slash me and getting all of the data over here. So fetch, take the response, and since this is a JSON document, we are parsing it, and we are setting we are actually just taking the client principal and returning it. So only the part which is in this thing. Yeah, and we can do this, and we can do one more thing. We can have a page which is home.html, and in this page static web apps homepage, and when we actually first try to get the user information, and then if the user object is not null, then we just send it to the home page. and let's just go back to index page and import our script. When we load this page, you can see that since we were already logged in, it automatically redirected us to the home page. Sorry, let me just take you, since let's go to the home page and it will automatically redirect us to the home page. And it's not showing the correct page. Yeah, it's showing the correct page. Yeah, and you can have the login is logout is also a very simple thing. You just go to .auth/logout route, and once you click on it, it will log you out. And once I reload this, you see that we are not redirecting again to home page. So in short, our login thing is working, and if I log in via GitHub 7786, you can see that it takes us to the home page. So we have this thing working. I showed you how this thing is working right now. We also have the static web apps also has a great little tool that you can basically define the configuration of the deployed version using a static web app.config.json file. What this file does is you can define a bunch of configurations. What you can do is just give me a minute. Having some troubles. Okay, sorry for that. I was just going to get some water. My throat was giving me some troubles. So basically, as we were talking about it, let me just completely break it. Yeah, you can define in some different set of rules. Basically, you can route a particular thing to some other path. You can make sure that a person who has a certain role is able to access certain page. So right now we have this slash home page, which is by default accessible to everyone. So even if you are not logged out, you can go to slash home and it will show you the page. We have no way of checking that. So with .config.json, you can make sure that a person who is really authenticated is only able to access that route. So you can declare a route slash home and you can say allowed roles, and you just give Authenticate. So what happens is when I need to restart the server. You can see that it automatically gave me an unauthorized error. Sorry, my throat is giving me a lot of troubles. So, you go to just give you an example of how this thing works. So, earlier we didn't have any protection, but with the help of static web apps.config.json, we can define a route and we can define allowed roles. So if it is not authenticated, it will give you an unauthorized error. So basically, all in all, this is a very great tool, and you can now only other thing that is left for me to show you guys is how to deploy this thing. So deploying it is also very simple. You go to the Azure portal, make sure you're signed in. Okay, it's asking me also, apart from that, all of the content that I showed you today, as well as a bunch of other samples, are available here. github.com/tyava/hwa samples. You can see that I have written a good readme file explaining what static web app.config.json does in this case. So if you go to each app has the same thing. What we are doing over here is disabling AAD. Sorry, disabling GitHub, disabling Twitter, and enabling Twitter, and putting it to /login, and making the logout at /logout. Yeah, you can find this over here. I will just paste this URL in the chat. And there's that, and with the help of extension known as static web apps, you can deploy this thing directly. Create static web app, and once you do that, it will automatically take all of your content and push it to GitHub and create a static web app for you. I will just need to give a name for this. I will give I will the GitHub repository name, I will also give it the same. I will choose an area which is near to me, that is East Asia, and just pass in the name as and it has no build, so I will just pass in nothing. It will do all of the things and deploy it onto the provider. If you go onto our repository, I think I have this deployed over somewhere, but I have not really written the URL over here somewhere. But I will just wait to see if all of this works, and if all of this thing works, we will have a deployment soon. It is doing through all of the process. And let's see GT76. Yeah, basically what it will do is build the whole app and deploy it to Azure. Since this is a basic app, I don't think so it will take much time for it to deploy this thing. And let's just wait and see how long it actually takes. Okay, it is ready over here. You can see that we have it deployed over here. We go to login via Twitter. It'll ask me to log in via Twitter. Let's not log in via Twitter. Let's log in via GitHub since I have already logged in. It will grant consents and it will take me to home page. And if I log out, it will log me out. And if I go to home page, okay, did it actually log me out? And okay, if I go to home now, it should say unauthorized. Yeah, it is saying unauthorized. So this is actually working, and there we have our session. I think that is all that I wanted to show. If you guys have any questions, ask me or leave it in the chat. I'll try to answer.
So even I have shared a feedback form for all of you guys. So you can fill this form so that you can get a recording of this session, the even the presentation that Ganesh has prepared, and uh, also the uh, link to the recording. So the form link has I have put it in the chat, so you can just fill those form. And if you have any question to Ganesh, you can either put it in the chat, or you can uh, unmute yourself and ask. Also, the entire code that Ganesh has prepared, or all the README files that Ganesh mentioned, how to build a static web app. So we have hosted that with the GitHub, and I think Ganesh has already shared a location of that. So you can even explore that if you want to give a try to this.
Kushal, I think they don't have any more questions. So I'll take a leave, and I hope you guys have a great day. Take care.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Ganesh. Thank you,
Bye.
guys.
Bye, guys.